Jimmy Kimmel had a chance to make everything right and simply wouldn't do it. No apology, no backtrack, nothing. Let's break down his ridiculous comeback to television.
And that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
No one is saying you did, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's kick things off at the start of the monologue. Now, if I was suspended from a show and I became the #1 news story in America over one sentence I'd said, I would be itching to set the record straight. I would leap at the opportunity to tell people that I was sorry and to try and get out what I was saying in a better words. A moment of humility to put the story behind you and then move on. So, how did Jimmy start off?
Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted, if you're just joining us, we are preempting your regularly scheduled encore episode of Celebrity Family Feud to bring you this special report.
Immediately, he's casting himself as a victim in all this. Someone interrupted me. My show isn't going to as many places as it used to. Me. But I guess you do want to start off with a joke to break down the ice and bring down the tension. But then does he actually address what he said? Of course not.
Everyone I have ever met has reached out 10 or 11 times. Weird characters from my past are the guy who fired me from my first radio job in Seattle, where we are not airing tonight, by the way. Sorry, Seattle. His name is Larry. In 1989, Larry tried to force me to do a bit called Jokes for Donuts, where people would call in with a joke and I would give them donuts. I refused to do it, and then I made a lot of fun of Larry for suggesting it, and eventually Larry fired me, and I had to move back in with my parents. But even he wrote in to cheer me up.
We're now 3 minutes into this monologue, and we're just broadcasting how many people support him. No ownership of how he ended up here. Just what I, poor little multi-millionaire talk show host, have been going through for the past week. I feel like I think you should leave. Like, buddy, we're all trying to find the person who put you in this situation. All right, so let's skip forward to the 6-minute mark of the video now. He's gone from people in his personal life supporting him to his ideological opponents coming out to support him. Can he show humility now?
Even though I don't agree with many of those people on most subjects, some of the things they say even make me want to throw up. It takes courage for them to speak out against this administration, and they did, and they deserve credit for it.
See, even when conservatives support him, he still feels the need to show everyone else his leftist heart still beats true. Hey, just because I want to thank these people doesn't mean I don't want to throw up when they talk about other things. I'm still cool. Seriously, you can't just thank them and then move on. And then finally, after 6.5 minutes of him talking about how mean the world has been to him, we get as close to an apology as we got.
And that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
That is not what you were accused of doing. No one said you made a joke about Kirk's assassination. You implied that Kirk was assassinated by a Donald Trump supporter and that other MAGA people were trying to paint him as something else. Let's see exactly what Kimmel said last week.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Remember, by the time Kimmel had said that, we had the Utah governor saying the alleged assassin was a radical left-winger. There was no misinformation from MAGA being spread, and the internet rumors that Robinson was some fringe alt-right figure who killed Kirk for not being right-wing enough were completely false. Kimmel and his staff easily had the opportunity to correct the script before air, and they didn't. Now look, I'm the last guy that wants comedians being pushed against the wall for offensive jokes. We would never have Norm Macdonald or Dave Chappelle if that were the case. But Kimmel wasn't making a joke. Some may say he hasn't made one in years. He was presenting that information as fact so that he could set up another joke, or as he calls them, political rants where the audience laughs when they're told to. Watch it again.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Not even a pause for an audience to laugh at. No one said you made light of Kirk's assassination, but you did spread a conspiracy theory about it, and that's what got you in trouble. So let's continue with the non-apology.
But I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way.
This is an important distinction to make. An apology is, I'm sorry for what I said. An apology is not, I'm sorry you feel that way. One is ownership for a mistake and a contrition that it was an error. The other is no ownership and putting all the blame for negative emotions on the person who is upset. So what he came up with was, I'm sad that you're all too stupid to figure out what I was trying to say. That is not an apology. His affiliates who wanted the apology on air did not get one. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all works out for him. And this isn't the biggest issue out of the monologue, but boy did it make me laugh. We are now 8 minutes in to Kimmel explaining how badly he's been treated and how many people supported him when he drops this absolute bar.
But I don't want to make this about me because, and I know this is what people say when they make things about them, but I really don't.
Outstanding. That's why he's the king. I would hate to see the monologue where he did want to make it all about him. Okay, but that all said, I'm going to switch gears here. There was one part of the Kimmel's monologue that I did like.
Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, telling an American company, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, and that these companies can find ways to change conduct and take action on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead, in addition to being a direct violation of the First Amendment, is not a particularly intelligent threat to make in public.
Hate to say it, but he's completely right. Look, we may never know the degree to which the decision to suspend Kimmel was influenced by the FCC chairman's comments. Could be nothing, could be a little, could be a lot. But the fact that you have a government-appointed figurehead telling a private company what speech should be allowed on their network and saying the government may get involved if it doesn't like what's being said is absolutely frightening. Now, it all may be fun and games when the FCC chairman is someone that Donald Trump supports, but what happens if AOC ever becomes president? Conservatives in America are at a real crossroads after Donald Trump's election. They have been trotted on by social and political elites for so long, with so many cancellations and chilling effects on their free speech under Biden, that now that Trump is in power, they have a decision to make. Is it time to undo the power of government, or is it time for their turn at the whip hand? It may be fun and cathartic to see left-wing public figures fearing for their jobs the same way conservative ones used to a few years ago, but it is not sustainable. And when the pendulum swings back the other way, and it will, it won't be fun for conservatives. I'm going to nerd out here for a second, please bear with me. In the play A Man for All Seasons, okay, I've already lost everyone, but the video's nearly over anyway, so who cares? In that play, the main character is questioned about why even terrible people need the protection of the law.
Arrest him.
For what?
He's dangerous.
For libel. He's a spy.
Father, that man's bad.
There's no law against that.
There is God's law.
Then God can arrest him.
While you talk, he's gone.
And go he should if he were the devil himself until he broke the law.
So, now you'd give the devil benefit of law.
Yes, what would you do? Cut a great road through the law to get after the devil?
Yes. I'd cut down every law in England to do that.
Oh? And when the last law was down and the devil turned round on you, where would you hide, Roper, the laws all being flat?
That fires me up. So if you're willing to cut down the Constitution to go after your political enemies, you cannot be surprised when they do the same thing to you. Okay, thanks for sticking through that last part. It meant a lot to me. If you liked or disliked the video or anything I've said, please let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with not just me, but the far superior commentators we have here on Sky News Australia and all of our videos. Thank you.